Welcome back, everybody, to the Master and Apprentice video and podcast. So as you guys can see from the title, we got another review. We're going to be reviewing the Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. Now, this is kind of like a short film TV show. It's 4 parts. They're about 30 minutes each. So it's like a mini docu-series, but not the docu part, right? It's short films, essentially. And each part feels relatively long. I didn't feel like they kind of flew by. They all felt like small films in their own sense. Overall, it was really fun. I always loved the Lego movies and shows for the most part. I mean, growing up with things like Lego Ninjago and things of that sense, they're just fun memories. And even now with like the Lego movie and Lego Ninjago and Lego Batman, those are some funny movies for kids. But even as a young adult, I just find the humor silly. It's a good watch. Is it like something I'm gonna watch by myself for just pure enjoyment? No, but it's a fun, goofy night movie to watch with a family or friends. And this is the same sense that I get from this series, you could say. I loved the overall story. It was very simple, but at the same time, very unique. It kind of went away from what you would expect. The whole premise, if you watch the trailer, is a character, the original character, Sig and Dev, who are brothers. Sig removes an important piece of the Lego Galaxy and it just changes everything up. And from the beginning, you can kind of get the sense they're trying to put everything back together. But a little bit through the middle part, they kind of figure out nothing's going to go back to normal. Everything's forever changed. And I think that's a good idea because it kind of strayed away from what people might have expected. It keeps the possibilities and opportunities open for new ideas moving forward. I'm sure it's very dependent on how successful this first series is. If they're going to continue to make, a season 2 or season 3 or part 2, part 3, however you want to say it. But with all of that, the idea of it was really fun. It's very goofy, very fun. It's very family centric. It's a good thing to sit down and watch with the family. It's funny. There's lots of, cool Easter eggs for friends. If you're hanging out with some teenage friends, this is a fun thing to watch, especially if you're Lego fans, Lego Star Wars fans, or just a Star Wars fan. There's some really cool concepts in this. There's nothing that's crazy unique, I'd say, but I think everything from this was just fun. I'm not going to try to spoil it too much because it's still relatively new. It just came out September 13th. So if you guys haven't already, go watch it on Disney Plus. What would you rate it? How did you like it?
I liked it a lot. Star Wars, has always been directed towards kids. So seeing something like this, it's not taking me away out of it too much. We've been watching a lot of shows and been excited for the new lore and the new things. But when I watch this, I'm not disappointed that they make a Lego show, and I'm excited to see it. They've made some pretty cool things in the past. And it's cool. Watching it, this is close to me watching it unironically. Like, this is actually pretty funny. It's pretty cool. I like humor, so sometimes I'll watch sitcoms that are just funny. That I just watch funny things because I just like a laugh. And this is definitely that for a kid as much as an adult. There's nothing that I'd really say I don't like about it because it does what it's supposed to, right? You're not going to go into this trying to get some new lore or whatever because that's not what it's supposed to be. You watch this with your kid, and then you're going to laugh at some of the things that the kid doesn't pick up on that are part Lego, part Star Wars references. They're just funny. It's cool. If you're a Star Wars fan, I think you're going to like this a lot. I'm going to go, if I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably say like an 8 to an 8.5, just because it does exactly what you expect it to do. And it actually has a plot that's interesting. Oftentimes I'll watch these Lego things and I'm like laughing at the plot. I'm like, whatever. It's a Lego show. It doesn't matter. But this is actually like, wow, I'm actually kind of intrigued. It's not something where it's like goofy, really goofy plot that I don't want to watch anymore. It actually kept me entertained the whole time.
One thing that I think worked in its favor and not in its favor was that a lot of the humor and plot points were very Star Wars based. So if you're a big Star Wars fan, there were lots of little things, subtle things that you would have found funny. With the Clone Wars, there's a lot of subtle hints and just jokes in this that are very Star Wars centric, which if you're a Star Wars fan, it makes it very enjoyable. There's lots of little Easter eggs, little characters, because everything's backwards. Just really cool concepts for Star Wars fans. But in the same sense, if you're not much of a Star Wars fan, I feel like you could get easily lost in some of the humor in this. You could easily get lost in some of like the the entrances of some characters and like some of the subtle hints and plot points are trying to move forward, you might be able to not get it. It might not be as funny as it's intended to be because you don't know much about Star Wars in general. This might be your first introduction to it. So with that being said, I think in some sense it might work against it. But if you're watching a Lego Star Wars series, you've probably heard of Star Wars. You probably know a lot of the Star Wars jokes they make in this, and it's still enjoyable. So with all that being said, I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's not the greatest thing on earth, but it's a fun watch. It's fun enough that I would expect them and hope them to make a part 2 or a season 2, because it was fun. And I like that they left the universe very open-ended and they can bring in new plot points moving forward. I love the voice actors they brought in. They brought in a lot of the original characters like Ahmad Best for Jar Jar Binks, Mark Hamill for Luke Skywalker. A lot of those characters who are the actual characters in the Star Wars universe or voice those characters they brought in. And then for some of the original characters, they have some big names. Overall, it was a really great produced series. I'm a huge fan. I 100% recommend it. If you're not a Star Wars fan and you don't like humor and you don't like silly things, not the thing for you. But if you want a fun, easy, silly watch with the family and friends, just something to throw on, I 100% recommend this. So 7 out of 10 seems pretty fair, all things being said. With that, let us know what you guys think down in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this series, if you guys didn't enjoy it, if you guys agree or disagree with our rating and review of it. Yeah, with that, we hope you guys enjoyed this video and podcast. If you guys are on podcast, don't forget to hit that download and follow and share. If you guys are on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And with that, we will see you guys in the next one.